Well, the start of the week, there were 8 spots available. 3 are now occupied, 2 by American teams, CLG, Cloud9, 1 by a German, Mouse Sports. And will it be French, or I guess loosely related, Ukrainian, between Hellraisers and Titan? The game will be decided best of 3. Of course, Simple was big in the first matchup. Massive numbers on Dust 2, in fact, when they played against Vex. Scream debut with Titan didn't really get tested as much against Skyred, but this is really the game of the group, I would say, in a lot of ways. These two teams we expected to be the favorites.
Yeah, most definitely. Like, I think this is what pretty much everyone expected going into this group, and it's going to be interesting to see with the recent roster changes how these teams fare up against each other.
Yeah, I mean, they're not just like roster changes either, because it's just there's so much that's changed within both teams. Like, it's such a massive change, because now Shox is kind of like going on the lurk and so on, and but they have Scream now, but he's kind of support. So it's kind of like, is that what you want from Scream? It's like,
it's going to be interesting to see.
I think right now, with 2 days to practice, he's support. I think right now they've just kind of, like you said, been fit into Maniac's roles. I imagine that's slowly going to change, where he'll start to get more of in a placement and position, kind of like Natu was saying, where Existence has to find him in those abilities to really utilize his skill set. So I don't think we can read too much into that yet. The problem is that they're so close to the major. How much can you change before you get there? It's
still kind of like a weird thing, because Shox is now doing more of what Maniac was doing as well. Because Maniac, like, he got really good at the lurking role. Because I think when he was the most criticized player, this is actually the crazy thing for me, because I felt like Maniac has one of these rare things where he's actually able to adapt over a long term and actually be like, okay, what's wrong with my game? And actually able to make improvements over like this period of huge pressure. And he's also obviously like an emotional player as well, because we saw a lot of presence from him in social media when he has bad results and stuff like that. And not a lot of players are going to acknowledge that publicly, but Maniac always took it, and just went with it, just acknowledged everything, and he made changes.
The message that he sent when the move was announced was exactly that. It was, listen, I'll be honest, Shox came in, he took my role. I'm not going to argue, Shox is the better player to the two of us, and he tried, and he wasn't fast enough about adapting to his new role. So like you're saying, over time, you can put pressure in it. I think I think it was JW maybe that said, oh, well, you could always just go cast events, kind of like, these wash-ups beside me.
Whoa.
I know. I'm just.
Besides, I'm
you
nowhere
haven't
near
death-threaded me in like 2 days, so I was just looking to see if you were still alive over there. But, no, I mean, and he said, no, I'm still very much a player, and I still want to be a player.
He committed to it, definitely.
Yeah, I lived with a Serbian for quite a while, and I don't think you really know what you're messing with over here. Like, it's all fun and games
my last name is Trivet, which is something you put a hot pot on to cool down, and there's the family motto is Salvus Indigne. I'm not sure if it means safe under fire or safe in fire. Either way, it means I'm going to be safe from this guy, so I'm not too worried about it.
We'll see, I guess.
Yeah, Anders, you're on the... Oh, wait, no, there's no hair on the side of the cheeks. That's Vince.
See, we thought we were going to have me and Anders on the couch today, but
it has to happen tomorrow. Like, I want to really get a close-up of you two side by side. You guys are so identical. What are your thoughts going into this? Because you've now seen Hellraisers in action over the last best of 3. You had the pleasure of casting it.
I think pleasure stretching it a tiny bit. It wasn't the greatest game to cast, but it was fairly one-sided. They played really well. I mean, as we're discussing this as well, was it a case of Hellraisers just being on a new level, or Vex not really showing? And I think we decided it was kind of a bit of column A, a bit of column B. So you can't take too much from that victory, I'd say. The same could be said, of course, as well for Titan up against Skyred. So this is a very interesting game coming into it. I think it's really close and kind of difficult to predict.
I feel, yeah, I completely agree with that, that it's really difficult to predict. A lot of it is going to depend on the maps that are going to be played, which is also difficult to predict. Do we have the map, Vito? Is that where
I was going to say, we don't have to predict it. We've got the map, Vito. Let's bring that graphic up. I highly doubt Lightning is going to strike twice, and there you go. It's not. It's not in order again, but it is numbered. So Train taken out first by Hellraisers. They had first choice. Cash then by Titan. Follow that up. Overpass is picked by Hellraisers. This is the one you were touching on a little bit earlier, Yannick, that it is, you think, one of their better maps. So it was interesting they went toward Dust 2 in the last series, and then Titan take Dust 2. What are you shaking your head at?
Did you do that on purpose? Because I'm actually not sure.
Yannick again?
Yeah, man.
Because it's like the French-Canadian, I think, of YNK. Yannick. Yanko's not really a Canadian name. I will say you're doing well this week. It's almost like it's been Yanko Unchained finally, It's just like we're moving into this new era for you.
All right.
Okay.
Well, I mean, so something we haven't really talked hugely about in this matchup is is the simple factor as well, because it's kind of a crazy thing that he adds to the team, because this guy can go absolutely nuts with the AWP, obviously, and he will pick it up depending on what's happening. And Mo has also been coming into himself massively in the last month or two with his AWP as well. So it's these kinds of maps I think are going to be really interesting, because it actually allows Simple a lot of space to work as well as Mo at the same time.
This is actually the exact same map pool we had in the previous best of 3 Vex versus Hellraisers, just
different
that
order.
Cobble and
Yeah.
Overpass are in different order. I was going to say that I'm a bit surprised that Titan banned Cash instead of Overpass, considering the change. But when I think about it, they lost to Navi at the major after overtime, 19-17 on Overpass. So I guess that's Existence's decision when they were vetoing the maps. Here we could see he was the only one from Titan standing there, so he made all the decisions, and I guess that he has some sort of a plan for it.
The other aspect that I could see about this is you look at Dust 2, and obviously it was 14 rounds in a row, 4 Hellraisers on it in the last series, and you might think, looking at that, why would you want to mess with that? A lot of that was individual skill from Simple. He outfragged everyone, so I'm sure they're thinking that, okay, it was one guy. Either we shut him down, or he doesn't have that performance again, and then they're on level footing. And they do like Dust 2 quite a bit, Dan.
Yeah, this is actually an interesting thing. To add to your point here with Hellraisers, they are so legit on Dust 2. It's actually lately been one of their best maps. Not so long ago. I mean, this is kind of funny actually. Right before Dozier left, he played a game with them, like a Faceit League qualifier match, and it was against Na'Vi, and they 2-0'd Na'Vi. But not only did they do that, they went absolutely mental on Dust 2, and of course Dust 2 is a great map for Na'Vi. Generally speaking, they're very solid there. But it was all about the fact that Mo was so damn good, and that's one of the reasons why they're able to hold so well there. So there's definitely a lot of argument for Hellraisers having a super strong Dust 2 just anyway. Their executes are pretty on point. They're very good at handling a lot of the fast pressures, fast B and A splits. So I think it's very comfortable for them. So I actually feel pretty good about Hellraisers here.
I think it's actually interesting as well. We're gonna go through the players here like always. We're not gonna talk as much about them this time because we've already seen them each respectively once in action already today. So I think it's interesting with Mo. I mean, with Hellraisers, there's never really been that second player that's consistently had that all-star performance. Mo has been really good on the AWP. We've seen Angel at times, Duran as well has stepped up. But with Simple in there, now it's like a really... I mean, it's just twice as potent, right? There's 2 ways they can absolutely destroy you on any given match if those 2 guys can step up. Either one of them, quite frankly.
Yeah. And it was interesting as well because everyone assumes Simple's going to pick the AWP up. He's going to absolutely wreck house, especially on Cobblestone. I was thinking that on the T side, but it was Mo, by and large, that was using it on the T side. Simple used it more on the CT side. So it's really cool that they have this very diverse setup where they can, if Mo's not feeling in a particular round, no problem. I can drop it to Simple, he can still wreck. If he has a better spawn than me, no issues. I can have the quick peek and I could try and get the first pick. So it's a very interesting dynamic they have. And speaking of the man, there he is.
Yeah, and I would be curious as well to watch. One of the things with Flipside when Simple was on that roster is even though Blade is considered one of the best in-game leaders in the world, not just in that CIS region, but the interesting thing with him was he was kind of, I wouldn't say overcalling, but calling himself okay, I want the AWP this round. Give me the AWP. I want to get a pick. Or I remember there was a game on Mirage, maybe it was at Star Ladder where Simple decided to switch bomb sites on Mirage where he was playing the up, but didn't really communicate it. It seemed like he took a little bit of leadership and had the confidence to just make those calls himself more than anything. I'd be interested to see how quickly he finds that sort of role in Hellraisers, or if for a change, if it really is #new Simple, he just sits back and does his job rather than tries to change too much himself.
Yeah, I think he definitely got a lot out of the Flipside experience, despite the fact that obviously there were definitely internal struggles and people weren't happy. Maybe the behavior towards one another maybe wasn't optimal, but I think he was put into a lot of different positions with how he can fit into a team. And I think out of that experience, of course, in the end, it was obviously that he couldn't fit into the team with everybody. It didn't work, but he would have been cognizant of the fact that, okay, I'm fitting what I'm doing into the team right now. And I think that was the first time he really got that experience to actually the whole team cognizance thing. And going into this one, I actually feel like I'm not sure how I feel about it, because part of Simple's power is him just saying, I'm going to pick up the AWP, go for the diva mode, AWP style, a little bit like JW will, because JW does this. He's like, I'm gonna take this peak. The cool thing with JW though is that JW is a very, very good communicator. He always is going to communicate what he's doing, and his teammates know him so well. They know exactly how to build around him. So it's never going to be something that's going to put them at a disadvantage. So what can you expect from this matchup? It's hard to predict. It could be like a huge result from them, or it could be very volatile at the same time.
I would expect a close matchup either way, and I think that maybe Hellraisers have a bit of an advantage just because of the fact that they just played the match right now, so they're probably a bit more warmed up. And I think that Titans, since they didn't have any time basically to prepare, their players need to step up individually and in order to challenge Hellraisers.
Well, to speak a little more with Hellraisers, we do have the angel from Hellraisers and the man who killed Dumbledore, Snape.
I can't recover from that one. Angel, how are you doing?
Oh, great.
Yeah. Sometimes I think people say Angie 1 because you have the 1 at the end. It's Angel though, right?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's Angel.
All right, great, fantastic. So I've got a few questions here for you. Firstly, are you happy with the overall performance on against Vexed?
Yeah, of course we won 2-0, so why I wouldn't be happy?
Well, I'm not saying that you shouldn't be. It's just trying to get your opinion. You know, did you feel like the team was applying pressure the way you prepared the team to do so? And you know, were your strats coming off? Did you feel everyone's aim was on point?
We prepared as well as we could, because we just picked up Simple like 1 week ago and didn't play a lot with them. But I want to thank DreamHack for a bootcamp that they prepared for us in the huddle. So we just play a lot of maps last 3 days, and we feel ourselves pretty comfortable. So we'll see.
So talking about that, are you happy with the team's composition at the moment? It's something I've asked other teams whilst we've been here. And so you've just had Simple. Whoa, he's in the background. Well, hey. Yeah, Simple now because you had the exit of Dosia. How's that all working out together?
Everything is fine at now.
Okay.
We'll see after this game, but at now I feel comfortable.
What's the dynamic like between Simple and Moo? Is it Mo or is it Moo?
It's Mo.
Yeah, and so, because obviously they both have amazing skills with Yorp, how do you decide who picks it up? Do they sometimes both pick it up?
We just decided not to change a lot before the tournament, just because we picked up Simple. So he just playing those roles most of the time, and pick up second AVP when we need.
All right, well, I've been told we need to throw it back to the couch, but the final thing that I'd like to ask about is that sometimes as a team, you guys can be a bit inconsistent. Are you hoping now to kind of stamp that out and, yeah, go through to the major? Have you switched anything up to kind of get rid of that?
Yes, I hope we'll be more consistent, because it's our main problem. I hope Simple will help us with that.
All right, well, maybe I'll speak to you after if you win. We can talk a bit more about that as he trolls in the background. But there we go. Thank you very much, Angel. Appreciate your time. We're going to go back over to Matt and the guys.
Thank you, Snape. No dark magic used. We're all still alive. Everything is good. You brought up a good point while we were listening to the interview, actually, Yanko.
Yeah, one thing I noticed is on the city side of Titan, all 5 players switched to the A4, while on the Hellraiser side, at least 2 players have stuck with the A1S. I mean, so we'll see if that has an influence on their city side play and how that pans out, basically.
Well, I've been informed, actually, that the knife actually already took place before that interview, because it obviously couldn't happen as quickly as Angel sat back down. That would be magic. But that means we'll do the predictions. We'll get straight into it. We'll start with you on the end, Vince. I want prediction as well as one player to watch. Now, Dan, I look at you when I say that, because every time I say one, you always give me like 6.
Hey, it's not you first.
Just watch all 10 players in the server, Matt. We'll start with you, Vince.
I think this is a really difficult game to predict, but as Angel said himself, they do suffer with inconsistency. It's their biggest issue. I'm just going to edge with Titan. I'm the player to watch his scream. I want to see how he fits into this new roster.
For me, I'm going to actually say Mo. And I'm actually going with a 2-0 for Hellraisers. I feel like it's a little bit gambly, but I feel like, but I'm kind of banking on the fact that Titan are going to still have some issues with the new roles. Whereas I feel like they could, and I feel like what Hellraisers can bring to the table could really just throw them off balance right now.
If that's the case as well, that would put pressure on Titan on Saturday. And imagine the Juggernauts don't make it through. I mean, that Vex is still a threat in this group. So that's an interesting prediction, Yanko.
I'll go with the 2-1 Titan. And I think that the player that we should look out for is Shocks. I think he's going to step up big in this game.
All right, so 2-1, 0-2, and 2-1 in favor of Titan, I guess you could say, although Dan is against it. But to bring you the game, to jump into the action, we are going to have Semler and who? I can't. Natsu. There we go. I couldn't remember who else was missing.
You had one
There
job.
we go. I had one job. You're right. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Serbia, I owe you an apology. Take it away, guys.